naira each. And those people will be able to provide employment to at least 3 or 4 persons. Boosting the economy is our goal. I don't see how this can help. This kind of conditional cash transfer, in my view, cannot lead to a greater production and real economic growth.
NPC adjusted their price, not knowing that we predicted that it will always reflect if the sector is regulated.
And once it's regulated,
international oil, crude oil price,
detect the prices.
We will detect this. And
then even
so we go higher than
of our currency.
Yeah,
is also a factor. As I said on Sunday, we had not seen the worst. Anytime the price goes up internationally, we should expect to pay more here. That is the problem about removal of subsidy. We have to accept it as a people. And that's why some of us oppose the idea of spending as much as more than 500 billion simply to distribute 8,000 to 12 million families.
That policy is not popular.
The policy is not popular with Nigeria. Let's even, sometimes the policy may not be popular, but it's what you need. Because the majority is not always right. But we have to interrogate even this, ask ourselves, those who believe that we should look at alternative to it, I think they are making sense. The palliative measures that government is thinking of has to bear in mind the fact that the pain of commuting now will be greater. Only God knows what those motor boys.
Downfall drivers. Oh, yeah,
so what people are suggesting is let us buy so many buses.
Yeah.
Buy so many buses. I've seen all kinds of suggestions. Somebody said 500 billion will purchase 8,000 60-seater buses. And that will even create jobs. If you buy 8,000 60-seater buses, you create jobs for driver, you create job for the conductor, you even create job for mechanics. So, and each state will get each state and the FCT will get 216 buses. Even in Lagos, as big as Lagos is, if we pump 216 60-seater buses into Lagos, 216, it will drive down the cost of transportation, which is the greatest pain that our people are going through.
The last administration, so much money were frittered away on activities like that. The Ministry of Humanitarian and Natural Disaster Management kept telling us the huge billions they have shared to families.
Now during COVID, we were even talking about school feeding.
Yes. People were on holiday. Students were not in school.
Talking about school feeding.
Accounts were presented
so a lot of people are
to us.
The accountability.
People at home. Pupils were fed in their mother's home. So immediately we had about 8,000 cash transfer. It reminded us of that era. Aside that, 8,000 naira a month will practically do nothing.
Julie, for anybody that is in house and for people that really understand our plight, our job is quite difficult at this time around. But the responsibility is in our hand to always tell our people the truth and to always stand with our people. It's difficult, our job. I know you understand what I'm saying, but then we have to stand by the people. We told government that this is not the right way to go. We've been saying it since Sunday.
They said we will not be able to say it. Look at what they are saying now. He cannot criticize. He has never criticized Tinubu. Because these people don't know history. When Asiwaju made those remarks in Abeokuta, here, I said, my view, what he said was wrong. You have managed President Buhari for so long. This is not the time to let your dam break. I criticized him. Even on Amotekun, I criticized him. The videos are there. They say, Babajide has never criticized Asiwaju. Now that Asiwaju is in office, we want to see what journalists and Hangout will do. They will never open their mouth to speak for the people. My problem with them is that
nobody will.
They will.
That's why we're playing it. That's why we're giving you the playback.
That's we have to put it in their faces. They will pretend Asiwaju is a Democrat. And I've said it before that even in his cabinet, the people that were always bold enough to say, okay, this thing is wrong, sir. Those were the people that he got really close to.
Yeah.
Some of them are still with him today.
So yes, most of them.
They are, in that cabinet, there were hot heads. Those who will say, Ashwaju, no, this is wrong. People like Tunji Bello will tell him, this is wrong, sir. There's no big deal about it. Any leader who truly wants progress would value feedback. Ashwaju is not like President Buhari. And I've said it before that this one is concerned about the way the public perceives him. Sometimes President Buhari will take a decision and he doesn't give a damn about what people think. Even all the people around him may say, no, this is wrong, sir. President Buhari will still stand by what he believed in. Ashwaju is someone acutely conscious of how he's perceived by the public. He's a skillful politician and he knows that once the people turn against you, or even the people around you, your gravitas as a leader is gone. And I remember reminding him when the matter of Amotekun happened. I reminded him, I said, you are both a political leader and a community leader, a cultural leader. Yes, I said you are both a political leader and a cultural leader. By cultural leader, I meant that he's also a leader of the Yorubas. That whatever it is your people want, you can't be seen to be publicly against it. Especially when it is apparent that they were not asking for it flippantly. They felt insecurity was too much at that time, they wanted it. You can't go against it. And we saw what Ashwaju did in the end. That statement that he issued to put the Attorney General in his place. And we saw that in the end, Amotekun happened. People do not remember some of these things. A good leader, when he takes a step and he's been able to hear from the people,
Feedback.
and he can see that, look, this looks like a wrong step, he has to do what is right. And what is right, yesterday we were saying the House of Reps, they are looking at this matter. It makes sense to advise the president that, look, this particular, you have a whole package, just like Dele Alake said, there are other things contained in the
Palliative.
Yes. But that particular one, many Nigerians see it as merely representing same of same. Part of what happened in the last administration that many people did not like. It is prone to corruption. It doesn't address poverty. In fact, it doesn't address inflation. It even worsens it. It doesn't control inflation in any way. And spending so much money on consumption rather than production is not the way to go for an economy that is gasping. So it was an easy position to take. We are not like some people that even if you arrest a criminal, because that criminal is someone that they like, they will not even report it. They won't even report it. We are not like those people. And at the end of the day, we have to stay true to our conscience. How do you stay true to your conscience? You see the truth, you see that which inflicts pain on the people, you have to talk about it. Yeah. And that's what we are doing. Yeah. They can say what they like, but that's what we are doing. And today we remind them that we have always stood on the side of the Nigerian people and we will not change. When Emefiele was inflicting body blows against our people, we stood by our people. At the end of the day, the truth always prevails.
The truth always prevails. Doctor, he said it in his inauguration speech. He said it in the inauguration dinner that he's not going to lord over us, that he's not going to rule us. That he will listen to his people.
Yeah,
because this is what is happening.
Yeah, because really that is the way to go. Governance is about the people. We've always said it. And even the definition of democracy is very clear. It's about the people. And the people are not only saying this out of the fact that they don't want him to spend the money on just 12 million people out of 200 million. They are saying it because we can see where we are coming from and where we are.
These policies that wasn't...
In the last regime, you recollect it was also said clearly on this program. Some people claimed that they distributed food during COVID-19 to schools, that were shut.
And children were at home.
And children were home. And we saw places where they said they wanted to distribute 20,000 in 4 tranches. And sometimes it was only one that they did. And when they do that one, as the recipient is going off the photo up for that event, at the back of the hall, part of the money is collected. We saw all of that happen. And it will be a dangerous trend to continue that way. Because what it means is that this government has also opened another flank for fraud. Massive one at that. Where some people are going to become billionaires overnight for doing nothing but at the expense of the people. And what was the major argument? If you had followed the social media, it was the fact that, see, Mr. President, if we have 500 billion to distribute, let's distribute it. Put it on the refineries. At least if you can't resolve all, resolve one. Put them on buses that can move people. Let our trains have more coaches. Those are the issues we are facing. Let us become a productive nation, not a consumption one. We are consuming now, and that is very dangerous. If we get all of these monies and what we do, the 800 million from the World Bank that we say we want to use as palliative, if we get it all, and what we have done is to share it to a few people, because that's what will eventually happen, then we have not done this nation any good. There are things we can do. Buy buses. Ensure that those buses you are even bringing in, they are not petrol dependent. Now, we are talking, in this country, there are vehicles that use gas. They have some that will run on electric, so that we don't go through all the mistakes we've made in the past. That's what Nigerians are saying. And like he has also said, instead of unveiling these things piecemeal, let Nigerians see the big picture. What do you even have in this package? Because it's like that is what is the issue. Labour is saying the cost of petrol has gone up, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. Let Labour even see what is in that package. Akpabio today, that's the Senate president, was talking about increase in salary. Is it part of the plan? If it is the part of the plan, are you going to check inflation? Because it's a big deal. So if what you are doing also for Labour will be what you have called palliative, make available some money that can help them to move around and all the rest, then let us know so that Nigerians can be at rest and say, okay, it's a full package. It's not just distribution of money to a few people. And I think that is key.
You know, Nigerians sometimes, all they want to know is that something that will better their lots and improve their lives, a way of livelihood. That's what they want. Now, a lot of people are blaming, this administration. I went to a filling station today and people were just shouting, Tinubu, and it's part of the deregulation of the downstream sector.
Yeah.
So I think the government will need to showcase what they have in plan and roll it out on time so that people can be placated.
The truth is, a lot of Nigerians that wanted us to believe that they didn't like the old order, that they favored free enterprise and all that. The moment this policy began to show, began to inflict pain they started saying something else. You can't say that.
Everybody, they were on the same page on the removal of fuel subsidy.
You can't say you support removal of subsidy and
At
then
the same time, you are saying,
that the
you are
pain
shouting
that
that.
comes with it, that you are saying they should not. Every time that subsidy is removed, you expect that prices will go up. It's just the normal. The
Come to
normal.
pains.
So a lot of us, yes, we said okay. Let market forces decide. Let's stop spending all this money. How can a country spend more than 13 trillion on subsidy in just a few years? 13 trillion. 13 trillion would do a lot.
On infrastructure?
What's even our budget for a whole year?
So now it's been removed. It will come with pains, whether we like it or not. Now saying that why the price that went up to around 80, Brent crude, around $80 per barrel, it can still come down to 30 or 40. We saw it before. The reason it went up this time is connected to the war in Ukraine. Because Russia is a big oil producer, you know. So our people must reckon with the fact that, look, this pain will come. Secondly, government has to take steps to address the matter of palliatives, especially for transportation. People need to go to work. People need to commute from state to state. They need to commute within their states, within even their communities. But a situation in which people have to spend so much money, 800 naira to move from one location to another, even Okada riders now, is 600 naira from Baga to Akute, 600 naira. People can't survive.
100, 200.
That was why we suggested that, look,
We are checking.
flood, it's not funny, honestly.
Not really.
So it's a terrible thing that a lot of our people, already our people are going through a lot.
Yeah, before this.
Before this now came. Now, if you flood our communities with buses, cascade it down to local government level, state government too, as federal government is rolling out palliatives, if states do not join to make it cascade down,
Because they collect part of
it will, whatever federal government does will amount to a drop in the ocean.
Nothing. Virtually
I've seen some states, I'm impressed with some states.
Yes.
You saw Governor Zulu.
Yes. Governor Opus Zodima.
Governor Zulu, within a short time, look how many buses and pick-up vans that he rolled out. So pick-up vans will take farmers to their farms.
And bring back their
Get them
produce.
back. That's a quick-thinking governor. A governor doesn't want to see his people suffer. And that's why he's so respected even among his colleagues. I doubt if there's a governor who will look at Zulum and say, look, I'm better than Zulum in performance.
And intelligence.
So he knows what to do. Now, compressed natural gas, we've been talking about it. We have to help our people who have vehicles. They have to set up, what's it called, service centers, where people who have buses can convert to compressed natural gas because it's cheaper. If anything that will give you like 150 naira per liter at this time, it is like something that God has sent to you. So if government, I'm talking about things that government can do quickly, because if we don't do something quickly, my God, no matter how costly, government must do something quickly, because nothing can be more costly than crisis. I've said before that Jafar Nemeri, there was a coup against him just because of bread prices. Bread prices, and before he knew it, he was gone.
He was out of power.
Today, Sudan is still suffering
From that crisis.
from the crisis of that a long time ago. So there is nothing costlier than crisis. Government should not think of the money. They have to come up quickly now with those palliative, especially in respect of transportation.
Transportation.
You know why I'm happy on transportation? Even the peasant farmer, he needs to move produce from his farm to the hinterland, I mean to urban center. It's still transportation that he needs. He's not going to put everything on his head.
Because those things are there on the farm.
If we address that pain, the pain that this thing has inflicted, especially in respect of the transport sector, honestly, it will begin to calm things down.
I have a caller, Alaja Abanishe from Agege in Lagos. Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
Yes, thank you for joining us, Alaja.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Well, what our presidents have done for us is fine. It's my support that they should have. Hello? My support to that who have the decided bus. And
Hello?
Madam?
I know that they go and buy bus, preparing our roads. Because all the money want to share with us, they can never overhaul all of us in Nigeria. Because many people that are in charge of this thing, they will send the money for your family. They can't put it out. Later they will insult our president.
All right. I was just trying to get to what Alaja said.
I was talking about the boss.
The boss.
Government needs to
that something must be done, not for individuals to just take the money. You know.
So, now that we have a kind of review, what do you expect the government to do?
Well, government should do all that can ensure that the pains are lessened. That's what is important now. And like BQ said, where to start from is transportation. If you, as I was driving down here now, most filling stations where you would have seen 50, 100 cars, you see 4, 5, 10 cars entering to buy fuel. Meaning that people are no longer using the vehicles.
I didn't even encounter traffic along the way.
I have somebody who will go to Yaba maybe on a daily basis to go and buy goods and all the rest. She went today by public transport because that's what makes sense now. So, but even at that, those ones should be affordable, you know, so that the cost of goods and services don't begin to even go up again.
The only way
it's gone up.
The only way it can be affordable for our people is when the transporter gets his bus converted to compressed natural gas.
Yes, which
is cheap.
Cheap.
And because it's cheap, you know, we will not be able to inflate.
And it's doable. It has been done.
Of course.
It's been done now in Nigeria. Okay. So what we need will be more points for those kind of things to happen, so that we depend less on fuel, on petrol. That's what is important.
We'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more to journalist account. Hello.
In today's world, our lifestyle, both at work and at play, depends on connectivity. Our connectivity depends on the devices that make it possible, and these devices depend on electric power. When power fails, our life shrinks, our work drops, and our joy dips. JRB Solar Energy Systems are here to ensure that we enjoy uninterruptible power, uninterruptible joy. Whether you're running a business, an institution, or just a home you return daily to rest, JRB has got you covered. No project is too big for our super digital inverters, long-lasting batteries, and efficient solar panels. Go, dream on, change your world. JRB Solar Inverters, batteries, solar panels, solar streetlights, and more. Telephone 0906 752 1111. Email sales@jrbsolar.com. With JRB, the sun's gonna shine on everything you do.
Never.
Thank you for staying with us. It appears a collision course between the federal government and the organized labor over petrol subsidy removal is inevitable. The Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, has warned that it may be first to withdraw from the dialogue with government over strategies to cushion the effects the hardship brought on Nigerians by petrol subsidy removal. The NLC is angered by the decision of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPC, to hike the pump price of petrol to 617 naira per litre. In a statement signed by the NLC President Joe Ajaero, the union accused the government of callousness, saying its palliative measures lack transparency. Now, I think the Nigerian Labour Congress, they have the right to speak up to defend Nigerian workers and to do what they were elected there, perform their duties, because it's not up to 2 months now that we started this new price regime, and all of a sudden, Nigerians are not educated, they are not informed about the dynamics of this thing, that it might not be necessarily NNPC or the federal government that is fixing the news price, or we are going to find ourselves in even worse situation, because we predicted it on this program that we should brace up. It might even be more than this 600 naira.
Well, while a good number of Nigerians may not be aware of the implications of subsidy removal, is to a large extent, there is no way you can convince me that Ajaero, the president of NLC, is not aware that when you remove subsidy, you've left everything in the hands of market forces.
Market forces, yeah.
No, Ajaero is talking about refineries. He's talking about refineries too.
No, let's even say, because I read his statement, full of abuse.
Yeah.
The most childish statement ever issued by any NLC president that I know. Let anybody show me a statement that Oshomole issued. Oshomole had issues with Obasanjo now.
For a very long time.
And he sent us on a strike. There was no time that he issued the kind of infantile and thoroughly abusive statement that Ajaero is NLC president, but he has to realize that there's a level of maturity that should go with the job. There's a level of maturity that should go with the job. Look at some of what he was saying. That giving the impression that this is an extremely callous government. Government, even in advanced countries of the world where our people are rushing to now, labor confronts government much more than these ones do here. Go to France. You can barely do anything. Workers will confront you. So, what is it that he expects? The other day, they vowed that they will not join the meeting. Part of the childishness that I'm talking about, we are not going to meet with you unless you go back to the old price. When they saw that TUC had joined the meeting with tails in between legs, they went to join the meeting as well. Ajaero has to comport himself, he has to show maturity. Honestly. And I don't know what is driving this attitude. Maybe it's his love for the Labour Party. Because when you show love for a particular candidate, show up at rally, show up in court, people won't be surprised about some of these things, some of these statements that are clearly not well thought out. Because even what he was talking about is already overtaken by event where he was talking about, there are palliatives, not transparent. Which palliative has been issued? That you are talking about lack of transparency. Even the 8,000 naira that was in the works. It's not as if and you are talking about that it's not transparent. Have they implemented it? What is your evidence that it's not transparent when it has not even been implemented? I mean, you read that piece of verbiage and you are wondering, what's going on? What's going on? But whether you call people for a strike, Abi? Because that's the greatest weapon that NSC has. And Nigerians have seen over time, if they are not totally convinced about something, you just find, if he had called a strike the other day, do you think it will have succeeded? That last one, when they were saying all those things. We are as concerned as other people, and everything we say here, we are saying government, do something. But you don't go to the point of threatening, we will not, that the outcome has been premeditated, that the palliative that they are trying to force workers to agree to something that they are decided upon. You can't say things that you cannot even validate by way of facts on ground. I'm just disappointed the extent to which it's going. This is now looking very much like, oh, politics is at play, whether we like it or not. And I remember that Sanusi, the former emir, said it's going to be difficult to. He warned Nigerians. People can Google it. He said the first few months will be difficult. I say people imagine that this man is a miracle worker and that is an Aladdin, that whatever he just touches. No, there is no such politician who is an Aladdin. You are not a miracle worker. He will come, he will try his best. But to just dismiss everything like, no, it's not meant to achieve anything, this thing will fail. Labor is the reason that we have this problem with the refineries. Every time they want to sell the refineries, you will say, don't sell. Don't sell. They will think that they will lose jobs if they sell. What have we gained with those refineries?
Those workers and we keep their salaries.
We keep, and the refineries are not producing.
But workers are there.
And they're
traveling abroad.
They're receiving extortionate salary that you can only see in your dream. That's what they are collecting. Every time they say they want to do something about it, they say, no, don't do it, don't do it. One of the biggest mistakes that Yaradua made was not selling those refineries.
Yes.
I agree that the refineries, because they are not in the price of petrol will go up. Because freight costs alone, denominated in foreign currency, is one of the reasons this thing is this high. Then the value of the naira.
Yeah. There was $1 billion that was signed in 2001 for turnaround maintenance that had a gestation period of 18 months.
We've always had this turnaround. The thing that is shocking, even the one that was done in Kaduna just some years back, what happened again? You know, I've said it on this program before. Some of these people who work in these refineries,
the minister at that time, Tinubu, gave us gestation period of 14 to 18 months.
They need to be questioned on why we do a turnaround maintenance and in a few months, those things go bad again. Because I really can't understand. Like we have said, if you go to some of these companies that do this turnaround, especially Total, outside the country, you find Nigerians there. So if these people have brought down this technology to turn around these refineries, then what are we doing with all of those engineers who are working there that they can't maintain it? Because we don't hear of these sort of problems elsewhere. And that's why I keep saying, see, like Biko said, labor is a part of the problem. They should be able to offer us explanations. All these workers that you have there who belong to your union, what have they done and what are they doing to ensure that these refineries, they keep working? At least what they need.
Money that they are collecting.
Yes, that's why the kind of money they are collecting. What they need are parts to replace. That's what all of this is about, this turnaround. They bring in new parts, they replace the old ones. And then these things jack back into life. And in a few months, they say they are bad.
All the money that we are pumped into maintenance is just money poured into the ocean.
Into the ocean. So we have achieved nothing.
Even now, that kind of money, if we have it, we should be spending it on palliatives. You're talking about this refinery. Those refineries now, they are almost
obsolete.
Almost obsolete.
And you compare them with what Dangote has.
It's not as if they are too old, though. It is because of poor management over a long period. There are refineries. There are refineries in the U.S. More than 80 years old refinery. So I think in North America, more than 80 years old, and it's still functioning today.
Oh, let me add that there is a deliberate policy
to make it not work.
Not to make it work, so that some people
so that
can be milking the country. Because for me, it is deliberate. How do you say
there's
you are
no
working
regime
somewhere
that we have had in the last 20 years that did not commit money to turn around?
So
there's no result. You can imagine Kaduna refinery refining just 50 million liters of PMS in a whole year. That is even less than our consumption for a whole day.
That means the government must take a stand on this refinery.
Exactly the point. You know,
when the man wanted to take the stand, they stood up. Obasanjo was going to sell this to Tesla
sold it.
and others.
He sold it.
You know, the new government came because of pressure. They reversed the transaction.
We should leave it on.
So where are we now?
Because if a Dangote has bought one of those refineries,
He
won't be building the new one.
This one.
He won't. He won't go through that process. It will just be a matter of modernizing it. And until that happens,
I think you need petrol to what...
we're going to be where we are.
Are you saying Nigerian Labour Congress should not act, should not perform their role at this time?
Who says they should not perform? Even me, I'm performing the role for them.
You know,
I'm performing the role for them. I came here on Thursday. I came here on Sunday. Yesterday, I was here to talk about the welfare of our people. Are they doing it better than me? They're not even doing it better than me. No one is saying, it is not by writing abusive press statement, childish press statement. That's not how you defend the interests of workers.
Actually, even if you look at...
We have refineries that are not working. You are saying they should not privatize them. Refineries that people are using as conduit to steal us blind. You are saying they should not touch them. They should keep them there. And we are not getting anything from the refineries. Does it make sense for a refinery, one of the most modern refineries that we have, to produce only 50 million liters in 1 year? Does it make sense to you? No, we are not seeing this now. Government says, okay, let's have palliatives. You sit down with government. Stop this head banging on the wall. The other day, why didn't TUC think like them? Is TUC not part of Labour?
Much more mature.
TUC didn't think like them. And TUC said, we will negotiate with government. They got into the meeting. When they saw that, TUC will take all the credit if something good comes out of it. The next thing, they went back into the same meeting that they said they will no longer attend. So how many times does Ajero want to behave like this?
Yeah,
that is the point. Nobody is saying NSC, don't. I'm even fighting for the rights of workers. Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, that's what I'm doing.
Waiting. Thank you for staying with us. Yes, go ahead. Louis.
Good evening.
Okay.
Gajide, thank you so much. Thank you for what you are doing. Thank you for you and your team. So I just want to suggest, I can hear you now. I just want to suggest, I think if we government should spend the palliative on electricity, so that, because that is where everybody, whether you are rich or poor, will benefit from. Or if you buy buses will be, there will be breakdown, which means that we have to start repairing the buses. But if you make sure electricity is available for everybody to use, you find out that people will have enough job.
To buy petrol.
The rest of them, they will have all these things available for them. That will reduce the issue people normally have.
Right. Thank you, Louis.
Very right.
Thank you for your contribution.
That I'm making has to be clear. You cannot dismiss the efforts of government even before you start down with them. You say, no, this thing, the Carlos government, we will not attend, we will not waste our time at meetings where they have already decided what they wanted to do. If this government is a government that simply decides what it wants to do, will it reverse a decision that it has taken? And it's not the first time. It has already said it's a listening government. Now, come up with your own ideas.
And let's see.
TUC said they want 200. In fact, before NSC asked for salary increase, Asiwaju already said there must be. He told governors when they visited him that there must be salary increase for workers. So it's not even, he's already helping you to do the job as NSC president.
But I'm not shocked. And the reason is this. When there was that fight, in-house fight in NLC, if you go back and read those things Ajero said, you won't be shocked that he's behaving this way.
No, I'm not shocked.
Not because it's clear that he's always on the offensive without first sitting down to weigh positions. Because that in-house fight within the NLC.
The decision to go, after you told Nigerians that you will not negotiate with them again unless they revert back to the old price. Why did you go back to meet with them?
Because he knew it was.
He knew that TUC was going and TUC will take all the credit. So you must weigh your words.
And finally, for economic gaps in economy like ours, a beaming hope of revenue increase is sharing news. The 3 tiers of government are set to share 1.959 trillion naira in July. This is nearly triple the 786.161 billion naira shared in June, and more than triple with 6.5593 billion naira in May. At a meeting by the Federal Account Allocation Committee, the body will allocate revenue to the 3 tiers of government based on the sharing matrix. Out of this, statutory collections make up 1.7 trillion naira of the revenues, following the 293 billion naira from VAT and 12 billion naira from electronic money transfer charges. Jide, good time for the local government and state government and federal government to share this money, and people are really looking at the impacts after sharing this lump sum. 1.959.
This undoubtedly is one of the positive sides of subsidy removal, because there were months when the NSC simply refused to remit a dime to the federation account
in the name of
subsidy bill, because they took it upon themselves to pay for subsidy from crude oil sales. I don't know any country where that is allowed to happen, where an agency of government will turn itself to an alpha and omega. You sell crude on our behalf, and on your own, you now determine that, okay, this should be what to go to a subsidy bill, not appropriated by the National Assembly. Just simply take money, net off money from what you sold. I mean, it's alarming. This was what they were doing, and there were months when they simply told the accountants, the Federation
Commissioner for Finance,
PAMSEC Finance, and the rest of them, they sit, and they just told them, look, we have nothing to put down. The former Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, fought NNPC towards the end of her time as a minister. She fought them bitterly. And at a point, she even said the president has to intervene on this. I was looking at her, I said they will come for this woman. Yes, I stood in front of the office, I said they will come for this woman. And they did that in the end. This cabal, for a long time, they were not remitting. Now, subsidy is gone. About 400 billion saved from subsidy the other month. Now, you can see that it has helped, because when you talk about statutory collections, is part of NNPC crude oil sales, is part of statutory collections. Federal Inland Revenue Service, Customs, even Corporate Affairs Commission, even JAM now, all of those revenue generating agencies, what they generate goes into that pot. And the law says funds put inside that federation account should be shared between the 3 tiers of government. Now, the removal of subsidy has shut up what the states were sharing. The truth is, when there were times when the states did not have more than even 300 and something billion to share.
Across.
And states found it difficult to pay salaries. Anytime we do not have more than 600 billion to share, it will be difficult for some states to pay salaries. So now, states have much more money. In fact, the governors will be very happy now. The unfortunate thing that a lot of those governors have not got any clue, no plan for the people. So we're wondering now if they have
more money.
The windfall.
What are they
going to do with it?
Because the pressure is on the federal government.
Yes.
Not knowing that these people will collect part of the money.
That is why I said that whatever the federal government is doing, it must cascade to the states.
Yes. And
every state should come up, as well, you should call a meeting. Every state should come up with their own palliative measures. Yeah. If we are distributing, they've said that they are going to distribute grains to 50 million farmers. states must be directly involved. Now they are, and on their own, they should do their own palliative. Because on their own, they can import buses and make sure that those buses, look at a state like Rivers. Rivers will import those buses. They can import dozens and dozens of buses. They will not even fill it. A state that can undertake 195 billion naira road contract
and paid
150 billion
upfront. So they can do on their own. They can do a lot. So it's good news for these states, but the devil in the room is how they are going to share the money, how they are going to
utilize the money.
Utilize the money.
We just hear of this amount, humongous amount, 1.7 trillion and everything. And at the end of the day, next month, they are back to the fact meeting, back to collect another one. And people must hold the state and local governments to account.
Yes, the time has come for that. One of my worries was
governments that are not even allowing local governments
to have because of the joint account.
Yes,
I don't know
one of my fears was
they will deal with you.
was what BKO raised. So how does the money get to the local government?
Don't conduct election.
Even how does the local government now spend the money? Just like we're also querying the state, we must query the local government. Because we've heard of some local governments in the past where the only time that they see the local government chairman is at the end of the month when there is money to be shared. One salary is paid, he takes his share, he gives to other people, and until the next month before you see him. Most local government chairmen stay in the state capital, not with the people, so they don't even know what is going on.
Many local government workers too don't show up until
they don't show up until when there is salary time. That's why sometimes when you ask yourself, how many workers do we even need? You can begin to now think of it. Look at some states. We discussed here on this program in the past. Some states had more ghost workers than real workers. Some times 10. So those are the things that we need to begin to take care of. And then also now begin to task the leaders at the state and local, or even at the federal level. How do we manage the resources that we have? We should be asking that question. And that is why people are still talking till now about the cost of governance. Because if all of this money is coming in, where you have in some states, I'm sure you recollect in the last administration, especially towards the tail end, you hear a state governor has appointed 350 special advisors, some 250. What are they doing with them? It means we must begin to take them on and ask them questions. How many people do we really need to even run this government? Like we said on this program, and it's virtually all over the world, any government that is going to be functional is not run by more than 7-10 people. Critical people, active, who can sit all night and brainstorm, deliberate, and then give. So if you now just gather everybody and you are just doing Father Christmas with the money of the state, money that should go to the people for buses, for fertilizer, for good roads, and you are just sharing to some political appointees so that you can get to win the next election, then we should begin to query those people. That is where we should be going now. How you have received 250 million as a local government. How much went into salary? What else did you do? Can we build this culvert here because they don't do so much? Can we just grade this road? You know, those are the things we should begin to ask those people. Because at the end of the day, the more the money, the more likely people will become frivolous.
Yes.
Today, what's the implication of this?
Greater stealing
and revenue. The implication.
The implication is government will find more money for infrastructure and to execute its plans. And then, hopefully, if they won't need to take as much loans as they used to take. Because I'm waiting to see how much will go to River State, for example, or Akwa Ibom State, all those heavy hitters, those oil producing, or even Kano. Kano too collects a lot.
And Lagos.
All the local governments and all that. So I'm waiting to see what will go to individual states. And you can imagine the excitement and the fact that they'll be able to do a lot more than they were doing before. Because if they were collecting, in April they got 655 million, March 714, February 722, then January 750. This is more than double what they were taking before, going to almost triple. So there's a lot that they can do now. Give our people better roads, give them water supply. You know, a lot of those things that our people clamor for. There will be greater funds in the hands of governors now to solve problems. And any governor now who still cannot perform, who can't solve problems, then he has no business being in government.
And I also think that, like it happened in the past, government should allow easier access to what each state receives. You know, in the past, it used to be in the media. It used to be in the media freely. Now, if you don't go and start searching on the website, look.
She will even pay the advertisement.
It should be.
She will roll
so
out
that people can begin to
can query our government.
Thank you for your contribution. And Bikio, thank you for always being there. And that's our package today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. Join us this Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Osuba. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.
Following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV.
Do you spend the night trying to get comfortable? Your knees rub bone on bone. Your back and hips ache. You wake up in pain? Not anymore. ShopX TV is proud to introduce the Contour Legacy Pillow, the patented, ergonomically designed tapered leg pillow that naturally fits the contours of your legs, knees, and thighs to help align your spine and alleviate pain. Watch when you sleep on your side.